What if we replace the sun with a black hole of equal mass? First, let's get one thing straight. No, the solar system wouldn't get sucked in like water down a cosmic drain. A black hole with the exact same mass as the sun would have the exact same gravitational pull. That means Earth would keep orbiting just as before, moving at its usual pace of about 30 kilometers per second, never spiraling in toward the darkness. So, in the first few moments after this swap, nothing dramatic would happen. Unless you count the part where the sun's light vanishes forever, and the entire solar system is plunged into pitch black night. Within about 8 minutes, the time it takes light to travel from the sun to Earth, daytime would turn to instant permanent night. No sunrise tomorrow, no warm afternoon rays, and no more awkward squinting in family photos. Temperatures would plummet, dropping below freezing in just a week. In a year, the average surface temperature would hit minus 73 degrees Celsius, which is minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Oceans would start freezing from the top down, forming miles-thick ice sheets. The surface of Earth would become uninhabitable, except for a few scientists in Antarctica who would smugly say, "Told you so." But humanity wouldn't be doomed instantly. Deep beneath the ocean ice, liquid water could survive for millions of years, warmed by geothermal vents. Creatures like tube worms and blind shrimp would keep living their best lives, blissfully unaware that the sun had been replaced by an invisible monster. Humans, on the other hand, would have to adapt quickly. Our best bet would be to move underground or underwater, building massive geothermal-powered cities. Or, if you have a spare $1 trillion and a reckless sense of ambition, you could try building a Dyson sphere around the black hole, not to capture its light because it doesn't have any, but to harvest its Hawking radiation. Unfortunately for a black hole the mass of the sun, the Hawking radiation is, well, basically zero. You'd get more energy from a lukewarm cup of tea. Now, let's talk about the black hole itself. A solar mass black hole has a Schwarzschild radius of about 3 kilometers. That means all the mass of the sun is now crushed into a sphere smaller than Manhattan. It would be utterly invisible, except for the warping of starlight passing behind it. A gravitational lensing effect that would make distant stars curve and twist in bizarre ways. If you look straight at where the sun used to be, you wouldn't see a glowing sphere. Instead, you'd see a warped, shimmering patch of sky where the background stars are distorted into rings and arcs. It would be beautiful in a terrifying, we're all going to freeze kind of way. And then there's the solar system's morale problem. Without sunlight, photosynthesis would stop. Plants would die within weeks, herbivores shortly after, and carnivores soon after that. In short, the food chain would collapse faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. Humans might survive on stockpiled food for a while, but eventually we'd have to grow crops in artificial light. Massive underground greenhouses lit by nuclear power, or maybe by giant lamps powered by fusion reactors. Of course, that assumes we can get fusion working reliably, which we've been about 30 years away from for the past 70 years. The good news is, we wouldn't have to worry about being torn apart by tidal forces. That only happens if you get close to a black hole, and this one is still 150 million kilometers away. The bad news is, without the sun's radiation pressure, the solar system's outer planets would start changing in subtle ways. The solar wind would vanish, meaning cosmic rays and interstellar particles could enter freely, gradually stripping away Earth's atmosphere. Also, without sunlight, the planet's surfaces would cool into frozen wastelands, with only subsurface life surviving. But there is one silver lining, literally. With no sun in the sky, the night would be crystal clear. The stars, galaxies, and nebulae would shine in stunning detail. You could look up and see the Milky Way stretched across the sky like a glittering river. And at the center of it all, where the sun used to be, you'd see that strange black circle of warped space, the universe bending around it like a cosmic funhouse mirror. For astronomers, it would be the most spectacular view in history. For everyone else, it would be the last spectacular view before the heating bill becomes impossible to pay. In the end, replacing the sun with a black hole wouldn't destroy Earth right away. We'd still orbit it, still have tides, still have night and day cycles. Well, just night, actually. But life would continue for a while. Eventually, though, without sunlight, our planet would freeze into a lifeless snowball drifting through space. Which means if you ever meet someone who suggests replacing the sun with a black hole just to see what happens, you might want to introduce them to the International Committee for not doing that.